everyone, and thanks to joining us today in this panel. Let me introduce myself. I'm Yolanda Perez. I'm the director of Be Startup. That's the financial partner for startups and scale-ups from Banco Sabadell. And we were pioneers back in 2013 in this arena, and we serve more than 6,000 startups and scale-ups in Spain right now with very specialized services. We provide them last year with around 500 million euros of loans. And well, we also invest through our VC arm in equity at early stages, especially, well, we are an agnostic and evergreen fund, but in 2017, we started to invest in deep tech, especially in health, but also in green tech or in climate tech, and also in AI and some quantum also. And that's exactly why we have put together this panel today, and because we want to explore what exactly the title says, no? What does Europe need to build the next generation of deep tech champions? And to do so, to discuss that, we have invited 4 outstanding experts. You will see. We have from cutting-edge spin-offs. We have Samuele Grandi. He's a researcher, and he's also the founder and the CEO of Arc Quantum. From successful deep tech scale-ups, we have with us Rodrigo Hernandez. He's the generative AI director at Multiverse Computing. Representing world-class research infrastructure, we have with us Mariona Sanz. She is the director of innovation at the Barcelona Supercomputing Center. And representing the funding, the investors, the VC, we have with us Montserrat Vendrell from Asabis Partners. Thank you all for being here. And before we dive in, could you please briefly introduce what you do in your company or institution, please?
For sure. Should I start? Well, first of all, thank you very much, Lana, for the invitation. So we are maybe the youngest, as Arc Quantum Technologies, are definitely the youngest here at the table. It's an honor to be here. So yeah, we're Arc Quantum Technologies. We are a startup working on enabling the quantum internet. Now, the quantum internet is maybe one of the most alien concepts in quantum technology. But in a nutshell, as more and more quantum hardware has been deployed, all of this hardware wants to be on a network, like the classical one. And this network, though, has to be quantum. Otherwise, you have a bottleneck you don't recover from. And we need then quantum technology to build this quantum network. And this is what we do.
I see. Thank you very much. And you, Rodrigo, at Multiverse?
So, yeah, Multiverse. So we started in quantum computing. We were doing software for finance. And working with a partner of us, we were using mathematical tools for simulating quantum computers in classical hardware. So one time we applied these mathematical tools that are called tensor networks to neural network compression, and we saw that you can actually retain much of the accuracy by translating the neural network as it is right now into a different mathematical formalism. So since then, we kicked off a line that has been growing a lot in terms of making AI more efficient, and I think it's the footprint of EU. I think our main motive and motivation is compete with others in terms of efficient AI, and this is the goal that we have at Multiverse.
And if you can share with us some fact and figures in order to have an order of what you were doing?
Yeah, for convolutional neural networks, we can compress the neural network to 20% of its size, and we don't lose any accuracy. And for LLMs, we can compress it down to 90% of the size, so we only retain 10% of the parameters, and we lose like three average points. That for most industrial applications, I think is very justifiable. And even we can compress it to deploy on devices, robotics, edge devices, so very, very large application.
And as a company, you have reached a big amount of funding, I think.
Yeah.
And how many people are you at the company now?
We are 500 now, and and as it's public, we are closing a funding round of 500 million. But I think it will be done maybe next month or the month after, something like that.
Thank you.
And they are using BSC computer.
They are using it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm Montse Vendrell. I'm partner at Asabis Partners, which is a venture capital firm located in Barcelona. We invest in a single vertical, which is health, across different verticals inside health, from therapeutics to health technologies. We have 400 million under management throughout 3 different funds, over 20 portfolio companies. We invest in Spain, in Europe, also in the US, but we have a strong focus in Spain. And we are specialized in company building, so really hands-on investor looking for projects in academia and universities and bridging the tech transfer gap, doing the company building, but from having already an international mindset, looking for international investors to syndicate it with us from the beginning, and trying to build the company towards the exit window. Now we are presently raising particularly a new tech transfer fund, which has been endorsed by the EIF and CETETI, so European Investment Fund and CETETI. We are trying to raise 100 million. We got already 75 from the public institutions. And our goal is to extract projects that have an impact for patients from Spanish academia, hospitals, and research institutions.
And this is your 3rd fund, isn't it?
It's the 4th in Asabis because we merged 2 organizations last year, so Asabis has 2 plus Alta Life Sciences, so 3, and this new tech transfer one is the 4th.
Okay, thank you. Mariona.
So yes, thank you, Yolanda, for inviting me to this session. So I think it's a very good opportunity to explain what is deep tech, no, and what is the panorama of deep tech also in Spain and Europe. So we are the National Center for Supercomputation, Barcelona Supercomputing Center. So we are operating a big supercomputer infrastructure. So it's a research infrastructure that provides services for researchers in Europe. Also, it's not only traditional computing, also quantum computing as well. So we are providing also quantum computer services to researchers in quantum. So apart from operating this big infrastructure, we are also a research center. So we have our own research teams and we produce research. And also now I'm responsible for innovation at Barcelona Supercomputing, which means that we are also very engaged and very committed to transfer our technology, knowledge to the society, to companies, and to create innovation opportunities around us. And we are creating new companies, so we have a portfolio, 16 spin-off, and we also are providing services. We have opened our computational capacity also to startups and SMEs, thanks to the funding that we have received as a BSC AI Factory.
And you are, I think, more than 1,000 people at the...
Yeah, so BSC is quite big, so we are 1,500 people working at BSC. It's around 1,300 researchers doing research there.
Mm-hmm. Congratulations. Well, it doesn't seem that Europe has a science problem, I would say, no? That the problem, because we have some of the best researchers and some of the best research centers and infrastructures at the world, it seems that the problem is more the challenge is turning that scientific excellence into globally competitive companies that growth globally, no? What do you see today as the biggest bottleneck for Europe? Just one each, please.
If I may start, then I'm going to say the obvious. I would say a continuum of funding throughout the time it takes to really create a value proposition out of deep technology. I'm talking about biotech, which obviously on top of that is regulated. You need a lot of experimental data, so it takes long periods of time. But finding the right funding from the beginning, so do not committing mistakes in the beginning, but particularly in the scale-up session, in the scale-up period, which is what we lose our competitiveness to other people or other places which have had this vision from the beginning and can build and execute much faster.
Next one? Yeah, Mariona?
No, I mean, I will, apart from of the obvious, which is also the funding, continuous funding, private funding, not only public, also private
Yeah,
funding.
for sure. That
Talent,
we lack
because
more.
you know that talent is very important, but in our world, AI, it's very important the access to lower the barriers to infrastructure. So you know that in the US and other markets, they are investing a lot of money in big infrastructures, big data centers, accessible for startups, for development. And here in Europe, we are really we are following this race, this path, and it's really an important matter that we need to invest. Now with the AI factories in Europe and also the new gigafactories that are going to be approved, we hope in the next month. So we think that we can follow this path, but it's really a problem. How do we follow the race of AI without public infrastructure and also private infrastructure accessible for AI startups?
So Europe as a community, I'm not sure because there is like a very deep lack of, it's been like a timeline with a history and so forth. So now we are in a very situation with respect to semiconductors, chips. We are facing the same with AI, we are facing the same with quantum, and everything has the same structure overall. But I would say that something that could empower more the companies that are deploying novel and sovereign solutions could be the adoption in enterprise, European enterprise. So some sort of support as well from Europe as a private corporative or enterprise ecosystem with respect to the solutions that deep tech companies we are providing, support in terms of commercial traction, go-to-market, that would be, this is something that maybe Europe can push or maybe not. Who knows? Yeah.
This is key because if
Yeah.
we want our European sovereignty, we have to use our own technologies. I mean, this is obvious, but it's not that much heard, no? Today.
And I think that also here there's, especially about sovereignty and technology and funds, there's a good opportunity to be taken because a lot of quantum technology relies on other kind of technology which are still in development. And we see that buying from suppliers from pretty much all over the world, and there's a lot of expertise in Europe, but this is still being built. And with a steady source of funds and constant backing, Europe level, but also every country, with a deep commitment, will definitely help to create, like strengthen the ecosystem that already exists. And maybe the one that for me is the most painful bottleneck at the moment, keep the people here. Talent was already mentioned, but for me, finding the right profile of somebody with the good academic knowledge, but also the mindset of building something and changing pace is hard, and there's not that many, and of course they follow the big money trail, which is right now still outside of Europe.
Okay, perfect. We don't have too many time, but let's try to be conscious. Mariona, Europe is investing a lot in scientific infrastructures. From your point of view, how can we ensure that these scientific infrastructures generate not just papers and patents, but also globally scalable companies? What do you think?
So we I think that, of course, there is this debt valley, no, that is always has been told, but there are several things that I think that should be mentioned, and we, at least at BSc, we are trying to work in this direction, trying to really facilitate the path to those researchers that has technology, that look for market opportunities, and they want to become entrepreneurs. We of course, we try to help them in the process of validation. So they need to validate very much before starting any company, because sometimes they think that they are also, they have the ability also to become entrepreneurs, and to become entrepreneurs is not as easy as they think, because they have lots of abilities in terms of research, but when they have to launch ideas into the market, the profiles needed are different, and also it's very important to validate that really the technology that they have applications that could be really worthy and can be valuable into the market. So it's very important to, before launching, really validate the idea. Then also, of course, support all this path with contrasting the market with corporates, with investors, providing them with as much support as possible in terms of also access to infrastructure, because for us it's an opportunity. And also, it is important that we have a clear path also in the technology protection and how they are going to really take advantage of the technology that they have, and the value of this technology. It has to be clear from the beginning. No? And this is a little bit how we are working in at BSc.
But I think that an interesting thing is also your AI factory, that if you can very fast explain a little, because I think it can be very interesting for companies.
Yeah, so at BSc what we are doing is, so apart from creating our own companies, because we are a research center, we also are providing services to other startups, because as BSc we have been awarded as AI Factory, so we have received a big funding coming from the European Commission, also from the state and the regional government, and we are supporting startups, those that want to develop AI, new applications, new models, providing them access to the infrastructure, to the supercomputer, but also with expert knowledge, with advice on how they have to build their projects, opening our data, opening our LLMs, our models, and they can use them and they can develop these new applications before entering into the market. So it's a matter of reducing the barriers of accessing to the infrastructure, providing expert services. We have published a 24 services catalog accessible for startups, and also creating community. So we have spaces, incubation spaces, but also experts and programs to support and creating a community, which at the end we are like I would say a hub of a new sector that is around our AI factory in deep tech and on AI.
And that's all for free, yeah?
Yeah.
I have to say. Then, Samuele, quantum technologies come with long development cycles, that everybody knows that, and require significant investment. What roadmap are you following in terms of development and funding?
So if we want to maybe condense, then I would say that our strategy is to look back, look where you are, and look forward, and never forget any one of those. Look back would mean to look back at the academic, at the academic environment. That's where we all come from, and that's also where most of the daring ideas are being defined right now. We are, for example, partners in the Quantum Internet Alliance, a very big quantum flagship project developing the first prototype of the quantum internet. Then in this kind of project, this allows you also to look next to you. And look next to you is like, who's going to be interested in this right now? And for quantum communication, which relies heavily on infrastructure, then this is governments who already have exposure to your projects being public, and you can already push for taking your technology out of the lab. That's what we are doing with the follow-up to the Quantum Internet Alliance, which is called Quantum Internet Initiative. 11 member states, partners, trying to set up 5 testbeds of quantum internet across Europe. And once you're there, you're installing infrastructure at the same table with players like, for example, Telefonica, that might be already your future clients. And you can already create the demand for your product. And then finally, looking forward, that's when the VC, the VC side comes in, which of course is much easier if you already have the validation that you had before. The validation from those results is something that you cannot put into a PowerPoint, create in a PowerPoint presentation. It takes time. And so for us, it's really important to keep all of this open to go forward.
Thank you. We have very short time, but Montse or Rodrigo before. As AI has become more and more strategic infrastructure, what role can European companies like Multiverse realistically play in ensuring technological sovereignty? And what do you need to make that happen?
Yeah, so we are with a really close. Well, first of all, we develop models, we adapt models. So if you saw the MIT Tech Review 6 months ago, we took like a few months ago a model from China, and we somehow sanitized or changed the model to answer any question, regardless the bias that the model has. So somehow we are getting resources from outside, and we can tweak it to make it ours. We can also make models that BSC, they've been doing with Alia as well, and we've been working with BSC in their infra as well. So we are creating assets, and with respect to semiconductors, we are making partnerships as well with Accelera, Semidynamics, OpenChip. These are sovereign hardware companies, so we are making alliances to create this end-to-end technology where we can, place this technology into gigafactories. And Multiverse is also one of the partners of the Spanish Gigafactory and other gigafactories in Europe. And we are creating this full-stack sovereign technology that we can bring to the customers in order to provide them with a European technology.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
And Montse, at which stage do you think that Europe loses more opportunities for its future deep tech champions in technology transfer, in scale-up, or in global commercialization? What do you think?
We are out of time, and this is
Yes,
difficult, and you
but
keep asking for one single thing, and it's never one single problem,
No,
right?
go on,
Obviously,
Montse, don't worry.
the problem is in the scale-up. I mean, tech transfer has improved, but still there's a lot of work to be done. And go back again to what I said before. It's the vision you have when you create a company that drives a company afterwards. And that starts with the tech transfer, talking to the academia. And I'm biased in my field, obviously, but in life sciences, everything starts with a publication, research in animals, and there you have to really build that or verify that science is excellent, that it does really respond to a market need, and then try to build a company all the way through. But I think we're still too slow in Europe, and that's why later down the road, we lose companies that have potential because investors elsewhere come and see it, or they are acquired by companies. I mean, pharma from US, not to speak of health technologies, where US is a single large market. They all move there. So there's a lot of things to solve: execution, market size, and not to mention regulatory. So there's a lot of things going on, like the Biotech Act, Innovation Act, funding boosters, all these initiatives that Europe takes forever to kind of like deploy. And they do really tackle the real problems, but we need to be faster.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, as we are out of time, just let me ask you a prediction, okay? Which Spanish deep tech company founded in the last years do you think is most likely to become one of these Europe's future champions, global champions. Maybe some of them are sitting here today, I'm sure of that. What else, Mariona?
No, it was.
We're all conflicted
So
here,
we
huh?
have one of those sitting here.
Yeah, for sure, but you can say another one.
I clearly cannot say that. You put me in a spot, but I have to.
No, I mean-
I will not say anything.
No, but I mean, it's very difficult to say, but what I think that we have to commit ourselves, all of us, to build very powerful startups, scale-ups that has economic return, but also that are built over European technology. And this is one thing that it has to be very important in our markets, because we are lacking very much that, and we need really to invest in European technology.
And also partnership within the country. There is enough expertise to make something great. Not with one, but even with
Exactly.
a consortium necessarily.
Multiverse?
Yeah, Multiverse, we will get this position, and we hope that we can open the way for, providing with credibility to other companies that will scale to the same. But, we are building the way to make it happen.
For sure.
And I'll go for one of our portfolio companies, which is in Brain Neuroelectronics.
Yeah, it's our
yours
in our
too,
portfolio.
But
I would say the
in this
same.
audience, it's using semiconductor technology plus graphene to build the right type of mini devices for deep brain stimulation, brain-computer interface, and it's at that interspace between, Parkinson, epilepsy, all that kind of needs, and what technology can really do.
They are amazing. Okay, thank you very much. Let's
Thank
give
you.
them a big round of applause, please.